Hello, everybody. We'll get started in maybe about 2 minutes, give everybody kind of a chance to join. So we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Thanks. All right, we'll get started now. Hello, everybody. My name is Pat Fury. I'll be your instructor for COT 248 Construction Planning and Scheduling. Today being our first day, a couple of things we're going to do is do a little bit of introductions. I'll have you guys kind of introduce yourselves, tell me a little bit about your experience in the field, if any. If this is your first, you haven't worked in construction before, and I know a lot of people are in that boat, and so maybe tell me about your other experiences, work kind of experiences you might have, and your interests. And we'll also go over the class syllabus. So it is posted on the site now, and we'll go through that, see if anybody's got any questions or anything like that. Go over what's going to be important, how to get through the class the best way possible, how you guys can get resources if you need them, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll kind of get a start on the subject. Talk a little bit about kind of in general construction planning and scheduling, what goes into it, who does it, what the effects are, all that kind of information. So I think we have a full class here online. I would appreciate if you had your cameras on. I'm not going to, say everybody has to do that. I know that's not, always the best pleasant for everybody to have to be staring at their face in the computer. So if you don't want to do it, that's no problem, but helps with the interactions. And when you're looking face to face, it helps with the interactions. We'll have questions and stuff like that during the class, so it kind of helps that. And participating in the class is also part of the assessment. So it's your choice. I think you'd be better to do it, but I understand if you don't feel like it. So and like I said, my name's Pat Fury. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a licensed mechanical engineer. My history in this field, in terms of construction itself, my father was a contractor, plumbing contractor, doing installation in new construction houses. I've been doing that, all through my life pretty much. He's retired now. I'm a mechanical engineer licensed in Illinois. I see probably 22 years professionally, something like that. I've worked for design engineering firms. I have worked for subcontractors, mechanical contractors, plumbing contractors. I've worked for real estate developers. We've built medical office buildings, industrial buildings, that kind of thing. I was a licensed project manager, PMP project manager for ComEd for 3 years, building, some substations, changing equipment, all that kind of stuff. Recently, I was director of construction at a minority engineering firm. We did a lot of institutional school work, UIC, ULovC, Northwestern. And most recently, I am a partner in a company, engineering and construction services company. We do a lot of BIM coordination. That's something we'll kind of touch on as we go through this. It's kind of a newer, relatively new field in construction, but it goes back to everything else. All of it's based on your knowledge of construction, not so much modeling or any of that thing. You still have to know how a building goes together. Other than that, that's about it with me. Last semester I had taught COT 107, which was reading prints and specs. That's one of the first construction classes you take. I really appreciated how important that class is. In construction, our method of communication mostly are the drawings and the specs. That's how we communicate everything about the job almost. And, getting a good base in that, understanding what you're looking at and what's supposed to be there, what's not there, and you might have to get somewhere else. Communication is everything in construction. If everybody isn't clear with what they're doing, it's hard to get anything right. So on that same note, planning and scheduling is just about one of the backbones of the trades and the project management, engineering, all that, architecture. It's planning and scheduling. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are taking the class. You're somewhat familiar with it. It's the way we control the project. It's it's the way we're able to identify whether it's on track or maybe it's behind or it needs something. And that's one of the ways we know. We see if it's off track, if it's going too slow. We want to be able to try to fix that, to try to remedy the problem before you get too far down the road, because the later you get in a construction project, the harder and harder it is to change any direction. So we'll be going through this class, planning and scheduling. Those are, like I said, very important in a project, and we'll be going through how you put together schedules, how you go through the planning process, who does it, some of the tools that are used in the industry right now, what's new in the industry. Sometimes construction feels like it's been the same for a long time. it's changing right under your nose and you don't even know it just because, you know, you're so involved with it. But, you know, there's a lot of new stuff in construction all the times, you know, with technology and, you know, new softwares, new capabilities. It really does change. It takes a minute to really take hold and for people to start trusting it. But, you know, it can really change something that, you know, guys might have been doing for 20 years. So you might be resistant, but, we'll go through the advancements and how to, you know, do your best to learn how to schedule effectively and successfully. You know, the fastest project isn't the most successful. It is, you know, there's a lot of factors that influence success on a project. You know, there's often you'll hear budget, schedule, and, you know, scope. Those are the three big parts of the three main characteristics that we are monitoring and controlling during a project, and those are the three characteristics that we often judge a project by. So, you know, scheduling is very important. We want to try to help you guys learn how to do it as best we can, and how to learn how to do it 10 years from now when you're doing something totally different. It'll be the same thought process. It might be a different, you know, form or a different software, different way of doing it, but it all goes back to the similar ideas behind it. So just quickly, if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to call out your name. If you wouldn't mind, turn on your camera for a brief minute, and if you would say your name and let me know how long you've been at Triton in the construction curricula, and, you know, let me know what kind of experience you might have or why you have interest in the industry, and, you know, anything else you want to tell me. If you have other work experience that you've been doing for a long time and you're changing path now, that'd be good too. And let me know, you know, if one of the other things is, we'll get to some more information later. So if you would just introduce yourself when I call your name. We'll just go down the list alphabetically. Alan Perez, you mind give me your 2 minutes of introduction?
Yeah, my name's Alan Perez. I live in Rose Park. What got me started in the industry? I actually worked in the industry like about.
Unmute yourself. So let me try to unmute them. Sorry, 1 second.
No, you're fine.
Okay, I got you now. Sorry, Alan. Would you mind repeating that? I missed that.
Well, my name is Alan Perez. What got me started in the industry is actually for like a year and a half ago, I got into the industry of construction. I've done demo, tiling, drywall, and, you know, it interests me. It's pretty fun to do, and I actually like doing it. I enjoy doing it, and, you know, I just decided to follow a career, and that's what got me started.
Cool.
That's
That's great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
And are you, is there a job that you're kind of, you know, I'm not asking you what exactly are you want to do or get out of this kind of thing, but, you know, in other classes, some guys were in the plumbing program or the electrician program. Is there anything specifically you're aiming towards?
Oh, well, right now I'm aiming for my the carpentry certificate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's mainly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I heard they got a real good carpentry instructor over there last semester. So
yeah, that's
cool.
I've been told.
Cool.
Right, thanks.
Excellent.
Yep.
Alejandro. Alejandro, are you there?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Wait, is my camera working? All right.
Yep, I see you. There you are.
So my name is Alejandro. I'm doing the carpentry certificate, and some experience that I've had with carpentry is in high school I took this class. It was called tech, and basically we remodeled like a whole house, and like for the whole year. that's kind of like my experience. I've also took like other woodworking classes in high school too. So yeah, I've had
Right.
like some experience in the field.
Cool. Great. And you're in this carpentry certificate program? Is that what you're going for?
Oh yes.
Excellent. Cool. Let's see. Thank you. Andrew Highland. I don't hear you yet, Andrew.
Sorry,
There you go.
my name
No
is
problem.
Andrew Highland. I'm studying plumbing. I don't really have much experience with construction. I did used to do demolition with my dad when I was younger, but that's about my only experience.
Sure. Cool. That's you're like kind of shooting to be a plumber kind of thing, or
Yeah.
what's your interest? Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Excellent.
want to get more than one certificate, but right now I'm going to start off with my plumbing certificate.
Cool. Yeah, it's a great, we're lucky that Triton actually has a lot of resources, and they do a lot for you in terms of trying to, point out different opportunities, whether it's, scholarships, funding. Sometimes even the unions come to them. I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys heard about it last year, or last semester, but the electrical union even, came and presented a program where they would give scholarships to guys who were, and gals who are studying the alternative energy side of electrical, and they, we kind of helped create a program. So, it's Triton's a real good resource, and the trades are a great field for, whether you're talking about hands-on, or you're a project manager, or you're, an architect, all through the trades. There's a lot of good opportunity, and, it's a good program to help you get your feel and see what you like in it. So excellent. All right. Ayana?
Yes, hold on. Let me see if my video works.
It's up. All right.
Let me see if I get it.
I don't see you yet, but it's no big
It
deal.
has never worked. Even last semester.
No problem. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. Did it come up?
Yep,
Okay,
I see
yes.
you.
My name is Ayana Swift. This is my second semester at Triton, and I'm studying construction technology for the degree, for the associate's degree. My
Right.
background, my current career background is in real estate as an agent, as a licensed agent and broker. I work for a company called Redfin now at the moment. But in the
Right.
future, I plan on I'll plan on being at new construction sites, just knowing people who are investors and in different stages of real estate. And once my dad, he did a remodel of one of his condos, and I was able to help, just pick out little stuff, the bathroom tiles and stuff. So it really interests me, and I just went up and decided to go ahead and go for the degree instead of the certificate. But at first I was thinking about the certificate, but I wanted my certificate in carpentry, plumbing, and electrician. Like I want to do everything. And especially because one day, I might see myself as becoming a general contractor. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And it'll serve you well if you are anywhere around real estate. I don't want to sound like some grumpy old man or something like that, but my wife's a real estate agent, and a lot of buyers today don't want to do too much when they buy a new place. They just kind of want to move in, and that just leaves a lot of opportunity to fix up stuff, put some work into stuff to help it gain value and stuff. There's less and less people that like to do that, really. To me, it seems. I could be wrong, but so it's opportunity.
definitely. So yes.
Exactly. Right. And in general contracting, that's the best thing you can do is have a base of knowledge on, all the trades, because they're all really important. They can all hang you up, and the more you know about it, always the better. So great.
Yeah, and I have a cousin. He's like a general foreman, at this one construction company, like, and I went to his site last year, and they were building a fire station on the south side. So he's like, I think you should really look into this. And then I went to this women in trades program, and I was signed up to do the 12-week pre-apprenticeship program to prepare you for the union work. But then when the shutdown happened, that program shut down. Like, then Triton was the next best option for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wish I would have stayed with my father and went in the trade. I'd be probably doing better right now if I was a plumber. It's the trades. I appreciate it for the fact that, it's a great opportunity to do something on your own, to start a small business, that kind of stuff, work for yourself. Even the physicality of it, you hear stuff now that, sitting at a desk is worse than smoking and all that kind of thing. It's good to be up and active, and, a lot of people prefer it. I think I probably prefer it myself. So it's great. It's a good opportunity. It's one of the only sectors that still kind of protects their workers too. Like, if you get in the union, can be an amazing opportunity. So great. Awesome. All right. Emmett.
All right. So, hi, I'm Emmett. This is my last semester at Triton. I am getting both the Construction Technology Associates, the Architecture Associates, and the Carpentry Certificate.
Wow. Show off.
Yeah, sorry. This is my 11th year doing carpentry. I'm primarily a scenic carpenter, but I have experience with residential, commercial, industrial even. I'm kind of all over the place.
You're primarily a what carpenter?
Scenic carpenter.
Like theater kind of thing?
Yeah, for like TV, theater, that kind of thing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. My granddad, I have a family history of people who flip homes for a living, so it's always just been in my blood.
Right. I understand.
That's pretty much it.
Cool. That's pretty serious looking microphone you got there too, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, Guillermo.
Hi, I'm Guillermo. This is my second semester at Triton. I'm going in for construction technology, and the reason I got interested in this class is because most of my family's in construction, so that's something I want to pursue. And yeah, that's about
Cool. Excellent. Awesome. And Luke. Luke, are you there? I don't hear you yet. I heard something there.
I'm here. My camera's on.
All right, there you go.
Hold on.
Cool. No problem. Oh, here it comes.
So my name's Luke Berger. My degree is architecture right now, but I'm also taking classes in construction technology. I don't have that much experience other than just like doing little projects around the house or anything like that. So I'm looking forward to the class though.
Great. So you're in Francis's classes or program, architecture?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, cool. She's pretty great. She's got a lot of knowledge. I've been really impressed with how she runs a program and stuff. And then, like I said, they really try to provide, opportunities and equipment and the best training they can. So it's a good thing to be in Francis's orbit. It's just she gets a lot of stuff going. So cool. And finally, Susan.
Hi, my name is Susan Ebner, and I wanted to learn more about planning and scheduling projects. Are we going to use any of the software, Project and SureTrack? No?
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna use a few different softwares. So in scheduling, and you guys may have kind of seen how schedules go before. They're often in graphical format. And so some of the more popular ones are Primavera, P6, it's called, SureTrack, Microsoft Office, or Project. At that, we'll have some assignments and, you know, try to do, there'll be like kind of a collaborative lab where we all kind of work on it at the same time. So you guys can kind of get a feel for putting together a schedule, how to convey stuff graphically and, you know, convey information, all that kind of stuff. So yes, Susan, we will be using different software.
Great, thank you.
Cool, thank you. Just so you guys know, I actually worked with Susan. She gave me a really hard time for a long time. She was, you know, really great to work with, though. We both worked for a plumbing contractor, so we had, you know, she taught me a lot. She had a lot of good experience in the field, and it's so she'll probably give me a hard time during class. So watch her, please. All right. The one thing I want to do now is kind of go through the syllabus. You know, my goal is to teach you guys how to do this for real. Like I'm still working in construction. Is, you know, it's not theoretical for me. We're doing this stuff every day. That's kind of the good thing about a program like Triton. You know, I went to U of I, and there was no such thing as like a construction class at that point, or even construction management or anything like that at the school. You know, and you're learning a lot of stuff that was more theoretical. My goal is to teach you guys, you know, when you go to work for a general contractor, or you're a plumbing contractor and you got your own business, how, you know, trying to teach you guys the things at least that I've encountered through my travels, and, you know, show you what's important, how to do the best job you can. The grades aren't, you know, my primary concern. I'd rather you learn really well than be real particular about grades, but grades are important. You know, the Triton is really great at trying to provide resources to get you through. You know, we all, obviously, we're dealing with the weirdest time in history right now, and people have different situations or responsibilities, all that kind of stuff. The grades are more, honestly, at Triton, I've learned that it's more of a way to keep you track of students, and try to, if you see someone falling behind, try to get them help. And it's not so much, you know, to lower grades or, you know, judge people. It is really, it's there to help us. That said, there are specific items on the syllabus I just want to go through, point out the stuff that's important, and make sure we all kind of start from the same page. We know what we're talking about, and, you know, you guys understand what expected of you, and I'll tell you, you know, what I can try to help you guys with, and try to give you a plan for going forward. And if you need help, obviously you can always ask me. You know, I don't know how many of you guys or ladies are going to the actual buildings at Triton right now. I mean, maybe the people who are doing the carpentry might be going there. I'm not sure how everybody else is. It is open. They don't really, you know, obviously social distancing and all that kind of stuff. That said, if anybody ever does want to go and meet for office hours, I'm happy to do it online at your convenience. I have some decent flexibility, whether it be during the workday or at night. You know, if you need help doing something or putting something together or using the software, I'm always available to try to, you know, meet with you and help you. One of the other things is availability of resources. So obviously, I think everybody, well, I guess I don't know that for sure, but if you guys are working on a computer, if you need a computer, you know, we'll be doing software work like we were talking about. It's not real demanding software in terms of memory and processor speed like that. Usually, the software we're going to be using isn't that powerful, so it's not like, you know, AutoCAD or Revit or something. So if you have a computer, hopefully you will be able to do the work. If you don't have a computer and you could use one, they do have them at Triton. Francis has made it a point to say she has computers available. So if you do need a computer as you go through this class to, you know, do the assignments and things, please let me know, or you know, obviously if you have someone else at the school you want to talk to about it. But we will try to provide, resources like a computer or anything like that to try to make your, learning experience as easy as we can. So just keep that in mind. Some computers break, all that kind of stuff. I know for me, working on my phone gets a little hard after a while, so I would like to, work on a bigger screen. So like I said, there's stuff there. Don't suffer in silence. Even if, I haven't talked about it or mentioned it, don't be afraid to ask me. I'm more than happy to tell you if I know or not. And if I don't know, I'll do my best to find out for you. So, all right. So that said, let's pop over. I'm going to share my screen. We'll go through the syllabus. Just starting out, and you can either talk or you can answer in the chat. Let me know is everybody pretty familiar? I mean, it's been going on for a while now, but I know some people could just be starting this semester or something like that. So as far as using Blackboard and online classes, using these tools, is everybody familiar with it? Is this a first time for anybody here? Or let me know let me know if you haven't been in school for the last few semesters and been doing this online classes. Is there anybody that hasn't been online class in the recent past?
Yeah, this is my first time doing like any schooling for like the first time in a year.
Okay. And so sorry, that was Andrew, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Andrew, so you just started this semester at Triton?
Yep.
Okay, so you got on class today, so kudos to you. Do you feel like it's probably best just to start using it. You have access to Blackboard and email, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well that's the first, biggest step. If you run into any trouble, please let me know, or if there's any questions you have in terms of using how to use the site and all that stuff. A lot of our class work will be run through Blackboard. All of it is run through Blackboard. If stuff got a lot better, maybe we could plan for a kind of a site class meeting or something like that during the maybe late spring, but I don't even know that that's going to happen. So likely everything will be on computers, online. One thing I did want to do is they are doing a construction project over at I think it's the front entrance, the entrance to one of the buildings. I was considering using that as kind of a model, but since COVID isn't getting any better right now, at least for the foreseeable future, so I don't want to try to tell people to go and put themselves at risk. So like I said, if you want me to meet you at the architecture lab, that's there's classroom space. If you need tutoring or anything like that, happy to do it. Just let me know and we'll schedule something, or online. So anyone else first time using Blackboard?
You know what, Patrick? This is Ayana again. This is not my first time, but I have to. I'm in Francis's. What is that other class? Like tomorrow, I have to go into the 304 G304 in the morning because we're meeting
Gotcha.
for. I think I have intro to architecture like twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, are you saying there is an active construction site that maybe we can stop by if we're up there anyways, or?
And I say that now. Now I'm going to go tomorrow morning and make sure I don't send you walking into a dangerous site. But yeah, and that's that's one thing about construction. It's nice. It's kind of a nice subject. There's a huge range of construction. There is, changing your faucet is construction, and down to building a laboratories and clean rooms and operating rooms, all that kind of stuff. It's nice when we can have a example. At least for me, I'm kind of better, kind of hands-on dealing and learning with stuff. So yes, I will go tomorrow. Let me check out the site just so I don't send you anywhere you shouldn't be going. But And if you're there, I'd even meet you. And Frances, she probably can direct you to more better than I can in most cases. So I will double check that. And yeah, there's a construction project going on. I heard about it this weekend. So, I was hoping we could maybe pop over there at some point, but I don't want to plan for it yet in this environment. So yeah. All right. Anyone else in terms of resources have any questions or, class format, anything like that?
I have a question about the software.
Yeah.
Is it free to download for students?
Yeah, so I'm going to send out, I'm still getting some confirmation on the availability. A lot of the softwares, AutoCAD for Autodesk is one maker of a few different, they make AutoCAD and Revit. A lot of them will have free download for students. Like Autodesk has free download I think if you have an EDU email. So if you sign up with your Triton email, you get a totally operational version of their software. If you try to print it out, it might say have a watermark on it or something like that. But yeah, and I will put together. I have two questions. Software is kind of a touchy issue sometimes. I don't want it to be used incorrectly or make it look like we're stealing it or something. I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. So I'll send out instructions and just how we're gonna log in and if we're all using the similar account, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll be logging into accounts. You won't have to buy anything.
Thank you.
Any other question like that? Okay. I did have a question for you guys. So I took over, Francis had kind of popped this class in front of me maybe a month ago, and there was a book listed. Has anyone bought a textbook? And I say that because the required textbook they showed on the course description was a second edition 2010. I don't have any problem. There's like two newer versions. They're not really that different. There are some technologies that have changed since 2010. I don't really think I need that book to talk about those. And there's other stuff I'm not in the book in the new versions. So has anyone bought a physical textbook or a subscription to an ebook for that yet? And I'm just checking.
Yeah, I got the second edition in hard copy on Amazon for like $11.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is like it's free online, and it's actually it's now on Blackboard too. I put it there, and it's not like pirated or anything. They've released the second edition. So if I didn't have to have anyone spend money, I would definitely not, encourage it. I just wanted to see if nobody had bought it yet. I would consider talking to Francis and if we should update the book. But I'm all for keeping it as long as nobody has a problem with it. You can check the Blackboard site. I did put the files for the book, and it's indexable and readable, and you can jump to sections and stuff like that, so you can search easy. I'm good with that, and some people like a hard copy. I saw that, Susan, there's cheap copies available, used books and stuff, so I'm great with that as long as there's no problems with it. The 90% of the book is the same in the two releases. I think there's an extra 2 chapters in the newer ones, but even the new release didn't have real up-to-date stuff. Some of the new kind of latest and greatest ideas is actually they call it the 5th dimension. They integrate scheduling into the actual BIM model, and so there's modeling capabilities on Revit that are integrated into the product. And it's not used a ton right now, but in my experience, Revit is gaining huge adoption throughout the industry, so it'll become more used as we go on. So they didn't even have stuff like that in it, so I'm fine. So right now my thought is we're going to stick to that textbook. You guys don't have to buy it unless you want to have a physical copy. It'll be online, and you guys can. It's a legal copy. So that's what I wouldn't put an illegal copy online or on our site. So I just wanted to double check. All right. 7:40. We'll go through the syllabus. We'll take a little break, and then we'll kind of start the first chapter of the book and kind of talk about some of the initial concepts, all that kind of stuff. All right. So if you're on Blackboard, I'll be filling out, kind of populating some of the documents. Right now, you guys should all have access to this class, COT 248001. Content is sparse on there right now, but if you're on this course page and you want the home page for this course to get straight to that, if you hit the little home all the way on the left side, it'll take you to the kind of the front page of this course, and there is the syllabus. You guys can, if there's any changes required to it, that's where it'll live, and I'll update it and change it there. So if you ever need the latest and greatest copy in case something changed during the semester, that should be where you look for it. Obviously, you can ask me if you have a question, but barring if I'm not available, you can check that if you want to, there's some information. Some of the important dates to remember if you want to drop the class and not have to pay for anything, I think it's 1/31 is the deadline for that. It's like 4 days later, you drop to 50% refund, 203. If you are graduating in May, I don't know if anyone's finishing their, certificates or anything in May 2021. Do I have anybody like that right? That can tell me that?
This is Emmett. Hi.
Emmett, so you're done in May?
I should be, yeah.
Okay. So that's the graduation petition deadline. I will follow back to you just in case anything changes, but that's the point when we got to tell them, hey, this guy's graduating, make sure he's all set for being done.
I'm supposed to get the BIM certificate in May.
BIM certificate?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. We'll follow back up and make sure we get that stuff submitted. But it's the 15th of February is the deadline for that. So I'll double check again on that before that, but we will get your stuff in there so you can get your certificates ready and all that. We're going to have a midterm. So this class, we're going to have basically 2 tests, a midterm and a final exam at the end. The midterm, the date is 3/10. That's March 10th. The final exam will be May 12th. Those will be online or on Blackboard, proctored. They're not, you don't have to go in or anything. One thing I will say is they're making a lot of noise during the meetings about making sure people aren't sharing answers and plagiarizing and all that kind of stuff. So you do want to be aware of that. They're real serious about that. It's a serious consideration, especially in education. We kind of get in the habit of copying and pasting everything we need from online. You don't want to be copying and pasting exact wording and all that stuff. This class is a class that isn't, some classes are all multiple choice, ABC, and this class doesn't lend itself to that as much. There will be some multiple choice on tests in the quiz, but so, if 2 people have the exact same wording on it, the software catches that, and then we have to go to you guys and do a little check-in. Hey, why is this that? So I'm just putting it out there so everybody's aware of it. I don't want any trouble for anybody, so just be careful how you cite your sources or copy your sources, not cite, and make sure you're giving a unique answer that you've kind of thought up in your own head, or else you read somewhere else and you're putting it in your own words. Course description quickly: study and practice of planning, scheduling, and monitoring a construction projects from the simple process of listing and sequencing to more complicated systems in practice today. Primavera, SureTrack, Microsoft Project software will be covered. And we will we'll have an example project that we use kind of just as reference. It is a kitchen remodel, and it's just I feel like it's something relatable for most of us. Even if you haven't, renovated a house or a kitchen or something like that, it's at least all kind of in front of you, and you maybe can kind of look at some of the different tasks and whatnot. And so we'll have something that we refer to. Learning objectives by the end of this course. So I want you guys to be able to create a construction schedule using, whatever means you want. You can do a good schedule on Excel without any specialized, construction software or anything like that. But you got to know how to convey the information in a way that's, clear to everybody. Allocate and level resources. That's a big part of schedules, especially for a trade contractor. You have a certain amount of work sources available. You have resources that are labor, and it's a finite resource, and it is has to be distributed. So the schedule for one project that can get integrated with the whole workforce, your whole company's resources. So when you need something on your schedule and you have a date to hit, it's a milestone date, and you're going to mess stuff up if you don't hit that date. You don't want to get to the 2 days before that and find out, yeah, sorry, we don't have any pickup trucks available for those days or something like that. It's a big part of scheduling is, you're predicting what you're doing and what your labor is and what your resources are going to be. And that's how you plan your business around. And, nobody has unlimited resources. Some big construction companies would seem that way, but it's always men and women doing a job. And if they're not available, or, it throws your whole schedule off, then it helps you, resource allocation helps you plan, helps you look out for things, and it helps you ask questions earlier than, before the date of the schedule milestone comes. We'll show how to update a schedule to control the progress of a project. We will use a project schedule as a tool in decision making. That's a big thing. Time, in any job, really, not just construction, but a lot of jobs, time is money. When you're doing construction and you're using trade professionals and union journeymen, things like that, they are, they get a pretty fair wage, and there's always going to be very few companies are working on a single project at a time. They may be, at one job site one day, but that doesn't mean there's not 5 other projects going through that company in their office, and they're buying material for it. Even if they're not on site that day installing, they're still working on that project. They're buying stuff, they're planning, they are maybe getting permits. All that kind of thing is happening. And sometimes you have to make a decision about, okay, we can either do overtime. I could make the guys, or I could ask the guys to work this Saturday, and that will allow us to do another job that's real important on Monday. That happens a lot, and it costs a certain amount too, because if you have union guys, you might be paying them time and a half on Saturday. So, a schedule helps you make the decision between, okay, how much is my time or our company's time worth? Is it worth trying to expedite a certain task to get to something else? Sometimes it is. Sometimes the owner will even offer to pay for, we got to get this done. I'll cover the overtime, something like that. So it's having it in visual form really helps you organize your thoughts, present them to other people, make decisions based on what the parameters are that are going to affect it. Created network schedules. We will create networked schedules that clearly establish relationships of activities. That's a big one. There's a lot in construction in phasing. Certain things can't happen until other things are at least done or in place. And 2 things are apparent there. One, you have to know what that relationship is. You have to understand, you know, if I don't have my carpenter bring in the subfloor at this time, the humidity of the underlayment and the deck is going to be, you know, high, and it's going to affect when my flooring installer can actually put the floor down, and you know, all those kind of things. Different trades can always have big impacts. You know, when your plumber's in there and he puts his piping in one place, that means something else can't go there. So it's a big part of construction is the organization, the communication of the important items to people that need to know it, and the organization of, you know, all the information and what the different effects of are. And there's visual tools in a schedule that are in the common practice that help you easily show, okay, well, this has to happen 2 days before this in order for that to go ahead like that. So that'll be something we kind of, it's a good part of a schedule, is establishing the relationships and priorities. Use project schedules to identify risks and opportunities. That's kind of a term you'll hear in certain situations. Risks and opportunities are, you know, pretty much what they sound like. It's, you know, one thing about construction is, even if it's the exact same plans from an architect or an engineer, even if you're building 2 McDonald's that are the exact same layout and architectural form, all that stuff, no 2 projects are the same. You're often dealing with, you know, various municipal entities, the building department, the permitting, all the inspectors. They're all different on each town you go to. They have different rules. They have different standards, and no 2 projects, you know, are alike. And it's being able to identify, okay, well, what are the things that are gonna set us off course, that are gonna slow us down, that are gonna cost money that we didn't plan for when we bid it. The schedule is a good way to identify those, highlight them, you know, so there's not just, you know, one line of 20. When you have a risk, you want to make sure the appropriate parties know what that risk is, what the outcome is if, you know, if it happens, what steps you can take to reduce that risk or eliminate that risk. That's, again, like when I said, you know, time is money. Same thing, same concept there. When you have a risk, there are definitely ways you can alleviate the problems that might be caused by it, but nothing's free, especially in construction. So you gotta, you know, an owner or a general contractor, whoever, you know, is dealing with it, they have to make a decision, and the schedule is part of their decision-making process, and it presents information to them that helps them say, yeah, I'm gonna hire this specialty contractor to come in at night during the 2nd or 3rd shift or something, because that'll keep my first crew going, my daytime crew going faster. And but that's going to cost X amount. Is it worth it to do that? Because if I don't finish this project, there's a term called liquidated damages in a lot of contracts. And that means if you don't finish a project or you don't finish your scope of work, you pay a certain amount to the owner or whoever you're working for kind of at that point. You'll have to pay damages. And sometimes it can be a small number, and sometimes it can be a huge number. It can be thousands per day. And you know, because it costs that owner money if they don't have use of their building. So if you all establish, all right, we have a June 1st move-in date, here's our schedule, that's how we're going to meet it. And one, you got to be able to track it and see if you're going to meet that or not. And two, liquidated damages, that I've seen them run into really big numbers. And sometimes not even liquidated damages. You just have to pay, your electric doesn't get installed when you thought it would because you didn't send back some forms, and you now have to have a diesel truck generator sitting outside your building because you don't have power to test the air conditioning systems and all that kind of stuff. So scheduling can help planning, definitely, and scheduling, identifying what can be changed and how that change affects the outcomes is, you know, it's a long way of saying it. It's kind of, you know, it might seem like common sense, but sometimes it helps to see the whole network of all the different factors that can affect stuff. And we'll become familiar with the software used for planning, scheduling, controls. And Susan, like, some of the reason I was a little, I'm intentionally vague at this point on the software is because I want to confirm, like, I want to, you know, at least demonstrate. I don't think we'll do a project in it, but I would like to at least demonstrate how scheduling is input and used in Revit, and that kind of thing. AutoCAD is a similar thing, like a workflow. So there, I don't want to limit us to just, you know, Primavera and Microsoft Project. There's other things out there that are kind of becoming more pertinent. So, all right. Prereqs for this class, there aren't any. The course credits, this is a 3-hour class. Obviously, it was supposed to be a 2-hour lecture and 2-hour lab. It doesn't happen that way during COVID, so we will do some lab type activities to try to work on project or assignments together. So, you know, it's good to be able to ask questions and get input and that whatnot. Required textbook, we talked about that already. Like I said, it is available online. And one second, I never shared the silly the screen with you guys. I apologize. I meant to do that. I'll do that now. Share. Can you guys see my screen now? Sorry, I meant to do that before. Cool. All right, back to the syllabus, learning objectives, credits, textbook. I do appreciate participation during while we're doing these lectures or classes. I will try to throw stuff out there, keep you engaged. There are some tools they kind of went over with us to try to keep people engaged. I know what a challenge it is to sit and look at a screen and not talk too much for 2 hours. It gets hard to take after a while. So I will try to keep people engaged and, you know, ask questions, all that stuff. And we do identify who's participating and all that. So it helps if you do participate. And I feel like you probably learn better too if you're involved in the conversation. So we'll have a midterm and a final exam, and there is also a quiz. I think 4 or 5 weeks in. That's on the schedule below. And we also have homework that we assign that I'll assign each week. We don't have it each class. It'll be due at the start of I think it's the Monday or Wednesday. I can't remember. We'll see it on the schedule down there. I tried not to load too much up, and usually a lot of the questions from the book involve, you know, kind of writing down a sentence or two. So again, those are checked by the software for plagiarism and copying off fellow students. So make sure that you don't have to get questions about that kind of stuff. The grading system, homework will be 25%. The midterm / quiz will be 25%. The final exam will be 40%. And then, like I said, there is some consideration given to participation. There'll also be extra credit available as we move through the year. I'll try to outline that sooner rather than later, just so you know what's available. And you know, some people take tests better. Some people do homework better when they get to sit down with the books. We will have the books available during the midterm and the final and the quiz. So we're not asking for memorization. There's not like a lot of rote memorization in this, but you will have to think about what we're, the questions, and try to apply, the stuff we talk about and what we read in the book. It's at some level, it's a little bit of creativity. You have to create an answer for these questions. So it is very good practice doing the homework beyond, and I only usually assign maybe the first 4 or 5 questions of 10 or 20. I would highly recommend you at least look through the other questions, and in the each chapter has a question, a problems page or 2. I would highly recommend you do look through those and kind of try to look for ones that you don't have an answer to off the top of your heads, because that's the one those are the subjects you want to maybe go back and either ask questions about or reread what's in the textbook. Like I said, it won't be graded. Highly recommend that you at least peruse them. The quizzes, the tests, they will have questions not directly out of the book, but about the concepts in the book. So it's going to really help you to go through those, the additional questions, and try to look for blind spots in your learning. So grading scale, I think that's fairly typical. 90 to 100A, 80B, 70C, 60D. I'm going to try to really stay on top of your grading and make sure I get the homework grades in and all that stuff, so you guys can make your own decisions about when, if you do need to do some extra credit. If I see anyone that does have a lower grade, I'm not criticizing you, but I might email you or call you or something and just make sure everything's going okay, and see if you do have any difficulties. And again, there'll be opportunities for extra credit to try to help your grades in that scenario. So you can kind of see on the syllabus the description of the grades. I don't think we need to go through that too much. The assignments will be given on Monday, so you turn them in by the start of class the next week. So when we go through chapter 1, and the first day is a little bit off because you can't do any pre-reading before this class, but so if we learn chapter 3 next week, the questions from chapter 3 will be due the week after. So there'll be time for us to talk about, discuss the topics, go through the material. Then you'll get the assignment, and the assignments are all listed. So if you want help during the week with the assignment, I'm happy to help. I will try not to give you the specific answer. I'll try to help you, learn how to think about doing it. That's my goal. Personal conduct, you guys, like I said, I don't remember if I said it yet. Triton is they do monitor the activity on Blackboard, when people are participating, logging in. If they're not logging in, there's reports for all that stuff. So try to make sure you act appropriately. They do monitor everything. So if they do see something strange, they will ask you about it. They'll, if you're logging into someone else's account, all that kind of stuff. So try to keep your eye on that kind of behavior. You don't want to invite any questions. Email, all our communications will be going through the Triton email system. If you guys are at work or something and you don't have the computer that logs into Triton with you, it's all right. There's not a problem if you send me an email from an address that's not Triton. I can't respond to that email that's not Triton. If I'm sending an email, it's got to go to a Triton address. So just keep that in mind. And if that's getting in the way of anything at a certain point, we'll deal with it. But it's all communication should go through the Triton emails. Late work, I do ask that you stay on top of the assignments. Again, we're not trying to be punitive by assessing late stuff, but it helps, or it causes you not to know where you are as well as not to have a good grasp on where you are in terms of the class, and help me understand where you are. If you're falling behind and you got 4 assignments that you got to turn in, and I might let you turn those in, but you might be not understanding something for a month and I don't know about it till a month later. So try to stay on top of the assignments. I know there's always life happening and people have responsibilities, all that stuff. So if you get one late and you tell me about it, no, it's not a big deal. We're not trying to nickel and dime you on every point, but try not to make a habit of it. It's better to stay on top of it, like everything. So incomplete, if you're not submitting enough of the work for a grade. If you read this, if a student's passing and misses the final exam, or fails to complete major assignments, or you miss a quiz or something like that, you can end up with an I for incomplete. That grade then becomes an F after if I give you an I, incomplete, and then I talk to you and say, what's going on? You didn't take this. Unless there's a pretty good circumstance, then you end up with an F probably, if it's just I forgot or something. So try to keep on top of it. The expectations for you guys, and I think you guys probably have been through this a couple times. This is a new opportunity for one person here. So if there are anybody for as far as if you need any special consideration for test taking, or during the lecture, if you need a computer with accessibility features, anything like that, obviously Triton, there's lots of people at Triton to help you on that stuff. Just let me know or let them know. We'll do everything we can to accommodate. And then there's the for if anybody did have disabilities and they needed to hear the test, or whatever, there's a whole department to help with that. The hours and location are there. Triton is real serious about class attendance. I got to take attendance at every class. I have to turn it in after the class. They say it's mandatory, so it's mandatory. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, but they're not going to make a lot of exceptions if you miss 4 out of 6 classes, and it's kind of a different excuse every time. The college frowns on that, just because, again, if you're not attending class, we don't know if you're okay, if you're involved in something else and you can't make class. They want attendance to happen online and during the live lecture, so you can ask questions. And if you miss 3 classes, I think this is pretty typical at Triton. If you miss 3 classes on unexcused absences, they withdraw you from the class kind of automatically. So if you do have something, and I know some stuff does come up, because it's online, hopefully there's not too much that prohibits you from attending, but stuff can happen and people get sick, obviously, pandemic, all that stuff. I would just recommend communicate as early as you can. Let us know as much as you know, as much as you can. And, obviously there's situations where you might not know how long stuff's going on. We'll accommodate in every way possible, especially just let us know as early as you can, because if you come in after the fact, it has a little less impact. So talked about that, the unexcused absences, academic conduct. This is pretty typical stuff in the student handbook. Don't plagiarize, put stuff in your own voice, words. No you know, they don't like when students go and find an instructor's manual from 5 years ago and, you know, just recycle the answers that they get there, and like an instructor copy, and that stuff does show up on their software. So just be aware of it. I don't think we'll have any problems. Academic support, like I said, they got a lot of resources at Triton. Don't be afraid to ask. You wouldn't know about half the stuff unless you were really involved or, you know, had someone working there. So if you need anything, don't be afraid to ask. That's Triton is literally there just to support you and to help you get new skills, to help you, you know, do what you want to do. So don't be afraid to ask for anything. There will be, you know, I got 2 emails today. I'll forward them to you guys. I'll do that, you know, as I get information. Sometimes there's opportunities for scholarships, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be forwarding that to the whole class. If you are interested in it, there might be information in the email. You feel free to contact whoever is in the email, or if you want me to, you know, if you ask me, I'll do whatever I can to help you contact and get in touch with the different bodies. They also have an academic success center. Again, same thing, small groups, individual tutors, very helpful. And when you involve another person in it, yeah, it's always you usually get better results. If you're just kind of locked solitary and you're trying to figure stuff out on your own, you know, it's easier to give up and, you know, get frustrated, whatever. So I would advise, you know, as soon as you feel like you're not grasping everything, or you might be falling behind, not understanding something, contact me, talk to the academic success center, all that stuff. Same thing, the technology resource center. I talked a little about the laptops. There's also printers if you need to print something. All that stuff is available if you need it. So library hours, I double check all the time. Stuff is changing at this point, but there is a great library at Triton. There's lots of stuff in there. I did just check online before you head over there and maybe give them a call. Counseling department, same thing. Like I was saying, they're there for you. The contact information is there. If you need anything from me, tell me and I'll do whatever I can. And then the course schedule comes up. It's pretty standard stuff. We just kind of go through the book. We won't stick exactly to this all the time. Sometimes one lecture might go long, some might go short. So I'll try to keep it as accurate as possible. And it'll be put here in the syllabus here. So I'll try to foresee any upcoming changes, and, you know, anything like that, I'll try to get on here as soon as I can. We will have that project assignment. That was kind of what I was talking about. The schedule will be developing on a specific project through the year. COVID rules. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with it. The one thing I will say is, if you do go online, or not online, in person, if you go to Triton, if you're meeting me there, if you're going to use a computer there, whatever you're going there for, I'm sure you've heard it before, but make sure you sign into the app. There's a Triton app where people are certifying that they haven't been traveling or sick and all that stuff. Anytime you go on campus, they ask that you sign into that app. All the other stuff, I think you guys, there is a student handbook. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. If there's anything else, I'm happy to give you whatever resources or information I have. And, you know, there's a lot of better resources than me at Triton, so avail yourself to them. It's a good program, and there's a lot of good people in it. I know that new carpentry, and they told me how great he was. He's like a master craftsman, Francis was an architect practicing architect for years and has a lot of good knowledge. She's been at Triton a while now, so she understands who to talk to, all that kind of stuff. She's a great resource. So that is the bulk of the syllabus talk. Does anybody have any questions in regard to anything I talked about in terms of one thing on the homeworks? I'm going to try to, and I'll put it up today. For today's homework, I will put it on Blackboard and I'll email everybody a link to it. I'm going to try to standardize how we submit the homeworks. Last semester I had a lot more students, we had a lot more assignments, and I was getting killed with trying to grade all these different formats because people were taking pictures and texting them to me and sending me scans, and some people were putting it in through Blackboard. So I'm going to try to standardize. I understand if you don't have access to a computer or something like that, we got to do something else, no problem. But I will have something up at the end of class. I'll post the homework link, so how to fill it out. It'll just be through Blackboard. Anything else? Any other logistics stuff or syllabus stuff anybody has questions on?
Just a quick question. So for like the first assignment, we just pretty much have to read the chapter 1, the first chapter.
So we're gonna just take a 5 or 7 minute break now, and I will go back. I'll start kind of going through chapter 1, the introduction, and some of that stuff. Every week we're gonna go through. We're gonna go through a chapter, or how many chapters are there? Yeah, 17. No, I think there's 14 chapters, something like that. So we'll be going through a chapter. Obviously I'm not gonna read it during class, but I would suggest, I will have my material and my discussion during class. Also, the recording of the recording of the class will be posted every week too. So if you miss, you're welcome. I'll send the link to where the recordings are. But yeah, I would recommend looking at the book. It's a little more detailed. You have more time, to kind of study at your own pace instead of trying to listen to me blather on sometimes. So the goal would be to read through each chapter during the week. Today's weird, as I said, but in most cases, we'll do the lecture kind of first, and then you you read the chapter first. Sorry, that's what it is. So I think the reading assignment for this week is chapters 1 and 2. Right. So, the goal there is before we meet Monday and I start talking about chapter 2, I'd like you to at least try to read through the chapter 1 and 2 stuff. So it's familiar. So if there is any, concepts or wording that when I'm talking about, you've already at least kind of been introduced to it, and, you might have questions in your head then when I'm talking, and we can kind of discuss it. So the goal will be to read the chapter before we talk about it. And like I said, the assignment will come from the book, so the assignments will help, the reading of the chapter will help you complete the assignments too. All right, any other questions like that, or about the syllabus, about any other of the, process, kind of this class process-wise? All right, we'll take a 7-minute break now, and then I'll kind of start with that first chapter, go through some stuff, then we'll be wrapping up for today and prepare for next week then. So we'll start back up at 8:27. I'll be back up. All right, guys, thanks. Ugh. Pause. When we're back at it, we'll go for another 15 minutes maybe. And I'll have some talk about some of this chapter 1 stuff. It kind of all fits together with the chapter 2 stuff. So I'll send out kind of a handout that'll have some of this introductory stuff and then the chapter 2 stuff for next week. So, and like I said, if you do have questions on chapter 1, I'm happy to, when you're doing if you look at the questions, when you get the homework link, don't be afraid to ask. You know, I'm not expecting that, you know, you do all the reading and get through all the concepts, you know, by yourself and have to answer them. We'll talk about some of it as we go. So in terms of, you know, everybody here is kind of given some background on what their experience in construction is. I said a little bit about mine. Like I said, I've worked as a design engineer where I'm actually making the plans and specs and drawings up for a project. I've been worked for a real estate development company. I've worked for ComEd. We kind of acted as our own general contractor and then hired electricians, say, or something like that as subcontractors to work on our projects. And then we might hire a civil contractor if there was land work. So in terms of, you know, people say a construction schedule, there's lots of different kinds of schedules used at different kinds of different times of the projects. They're used to convey and record different information based on who's making it and what they're using it for. And construction projects, you know, it's a complicated process just because of the number of parties involved. Just building a home. So it's, you know, one of the more simple construction projects, theoretically, that we run into is renovating a home, building a home. You know, you might have 20 subcontractors working if you were a builder building a home, you might have 20 subcontractors working on that new home. There's 20 subcontractors, 20 different individuals, personalities, types of work. You know, people talk about construction. It's actually, you know, it's not one industry. It's you know, 40 industries, because you have different guys doing different participants doing different things at different times. You know, a construction schedule that we put together for our project, you know, that might be for a general contractor. The life cycle of the project really started, you know, 6 months before that general contractor got involved, and the ownership was doing a feasibility to see if it made financial sense to do the project. They might have had to go for financing. Therefore, you got to put together a schedule for, you know, your lender that's going to finance the project. You know, and the general contractors might not be involved when you're doing the land entitlement. You got to change the zoning or something like that. You know, that all happens before the project's even bid or anything like that. So the point being, a lot of different people need project schedules for a lot of different uses. The main point is trying to convey the information as clearly as you can, as accurately as you can, and making it as useful as it can be. You know, and, you know, one thing I'll point out at ComEd, we would do our projects and we would have, you know, a simple project could be 2 years long, because you might be replacing, you know, some big equipment in a substation. For that, you know, just to do that work, you had to put together a project feasibility. We want to change this circuit breaker. And when I say circuit breaker, they would have, you know, they'd be 10 feet high. the scale in ComEd stuff was different than I've worked at in buildings, but similar uses, but the scale of it's just way different. So you might have an upgrade project in a substation. Engineering will put together a feasibility for the owners to the executives to see, and you have to estimate about how long you think it's going to take, what you think the scope is going to entail, who's going to be involved, what it's going to cost. You know, there's all kinds of different uses for schedule, and the common thread is you're trying to communicate and predict, plan, all that stuff is in one schedule. And, you know, so the big portion of what you're trying to communicate comes from who's doing the work. Nobody, I don't care who they are, knows everything about every trade. Each trade can vary, totally different things. An electrician doesn't know half the stuff a plumber's doing, and a plumber doesn't know half the stuff the electrician's doing. They're, like I said, they're same industry, but they could be completely different teams that you do it with. It could be different limitations, parameters, and to try to communicate that stuff, to try to present it, to try to use it as a tool to control your project. You want to the most common form of a schedule is going to be a graph. It's a bar graph. I'll pull up the examples of what they look like. They're often it'll be a bar graph and have 20 different lines, and each line will be a task. The visual part of it is to show, we talked a little bit about, what comes before what the, physical sequence is. You can't do X before you finish Y or whatever that is. It is a bar graph, but it's usually kind of specialized bar graphs to convey all the information that we need. Has anyone here ever had to put together any, and I know you guys have worked in construction, you might have had to do some scheduling. Has anyone ever had to put it down on paper? And, it might just be for one trade. It could be for all the trades. Has anyone ever had to do that kind of planning or scheduling?
I've sat in on a scheduling process. I've not officially done one myself, though.
Sure. And in that scenario, were you like a component of the schedule? They were asking you how long it's going to take you to do your carpentry work or your whatever your scope was?
More like the intern with ears.
Okay, gotcha. Recording, yeah, that's very common. We all, and there's so many different factors that can go into a schedule. Like I said, nobody knows all the trades, but the goal is to know as much as you can so you can relate the two things to each other. In the book, there's some nice, they're called Gantt charts. There's different terms for the schedule. I've been around for over 20 years. I don't think I've ever said the word Gantt chart out loud in a construction setting. It's not, it is a Gantt chart, but it's not, that's kind of the academic name for it. It's, in most cases, it's a schedule. You just call it the schedule. If you look, let me share. So I'm in the textbook. Towards the back of the book, there's some nice appendixes that have, just physical example or, representations of schedules. They kind of show what a schedule looks like. I will share this so you guys can kind of, this is just kind of introductory stuff to kind of show you the format we use. We're trying to convey information. Like I mentioned earlier, the plans and specs have a lot of the information in terms of scope. And while they often, a set of plans is broken up into, when you get a set of plans, you guys, the first class that I taught last year, we show you that there is a set of mechanical plan sheets. There is a set of electrical sheets. There is a set of plumbing sheets. So that stuff is, broken up, but it doesn't really give you much information on timing. It doesn't tell you, what has to go in before what. So, the how we try to, plan for that and how we try to track all that stuff is usually done on a separate format, and that's the schedule. Entire screen, share, and I'm sorry, my 90 degrees is what I'd like to be, but this is a typical example of what you'll see when you're looking at a schedule. As we go through this, we'll this is, in its broadest form, this would be a bar chart, a bar graph, where you're representing time. You can see up in the column headings are the names of the months. You got the year 2000, and then based on the tasks you have over to one side, you'll represent the length of those times with the length of the bars they show in the graph. As you can see, there's some, there's drawing conventions we have here in the schedule that will identify, sometime we talked a little bit about precedence or what has to happen before what, phasing wise or schedule wise. That it can convey a lot of, information without having to, write down every single point that, you're trying to make. So if we look here on the left-hand side in the row columns, on the rows, this will be a typical schedule. You'd often see this, and this is often created by a general contractor when he's bidding the project. Often when someone's bidding a project, they not only ask for a price, but they ask for you to identify the schedule, how fast you're going to do the work, how long is it going to take. Sometimes an owner will have that kind of already determined, and the contractor has to, plan and price around that. If there's more work, oftentimes you'll see expedited projects where for whatever reason, I used to do a lot of hospital work, and if they shut down their ORs for each day, it's so many hundreds of thousands of dollars in hospital revenue that they don't see because they're unable to use those rooms. So situations like that, they go into the project with the knowledge of, we got to do this in the fastest way possible. We want to shorten the time frame as much as we can. There's different ways to do that. We'll get into that, and it involves the resources. You can add more manpower. There's limitations to how much manpower you can add. If you're doing the electrical work in a space, you can't just say, yeah, I have 2 guys, it's going to take me a week, I'll just put 5 guys there and it'll take me 2 days. So that sounds good in theory, but in reality, when you get out there, you can't have 5 guys physically working in a certain amount of space, or else you're going to actually slow yourself down. You're going to be running into yourself. You're going to be, these 2 guys are standing there waiting while these 2 guys are putting this there. So while there are parameters that we can adjust, you can't just make the assumption that X equals Y and it's a direct relationship. You do have to understand the labor, the job site, the limitations, all that kind of thing. You have, and when I say you might be responsible for putting this schedule together. you know, in my situation, I try not to make technical decisions as much as I can, especially on stuff I'm not an expert at or I'm not physically doing. Um, it's the most precise way is to ask the person who or the company that's doing that work, how long will it take them, as opposed to assigning them how long it's going to take them. You know, that's making them think about it, making them consider, you know, what their plan for work is going to be a lot more accurate than, you know, someone else deciding, well, we need this done by this date, so you have 3 days to do it, figure it out. That we do as much as we can, but you're going to affect price. You're going to greatly affect, you know, the bottom line of the project often is measured in dollars, and that's going to show up. That's going to, if you have to spend more to get something done faster, you know, I hope someone considered that early on, because you're always going to run into situations where, you know, you have a limitation. You, even when you have two shifts going, you know, oftentimes a company will have an A shift. You know, their best two guys are on this crew. They have two pretty capable guys, and they're going to be working at night. You know, you're not going to get the same output as you would from, you know, the two good, you know, ace guys doing it in the daytime. You know, if it took them 60 hours, you know, you might end up spending 80 hours, you know, raw time, not counting overtime, just because, you know, the lack of continuity. You have, you know, in construction, one of the main things is you have to know who's, you know, we like to say think tasks can be automated and, you know, almost commoditize work. And that sounds good. And, you know, it looks like a value, a pertinent fact to certain individuals. But when it gets down to it, you're dealing with people, you know, doing often physical tasks, and there are limitations to physical tasks. You know, there are, you know, you get less efficient the time frame is. If you're on site for 4 hours, you might get much less done because you have setup and clean up, you know, or pick up at the end of the shift. So, you know, all relationships aren't just linear commodities we can just plug in and plug out. And my point there is your best resource are, you know, the contractors doing the work. That said, often when I work for contractors, you almost can't let the guys doing the work establish how long it's going to take you, because you'll never win a job at that point. Because if you're physically doing the work, you have to you want to give yourself as much time as possible to do it in the most right way you can. And those guys will often overestimate how much time it's going to take them. So just, you know, under promise and over perform kind of thing. You know, it looks a lot better if you get finished in 10 hours when you told them it was going to take 20, then you feel like a hero. Yeah, but you might lose the job. Your price might be high because you overestimated, you know, your man hours. So just kind of in general, when you're reading through chapters 1 and 2, you know, I just wanted just kind of a broad understanding of the format we're using, and, you know, the kind of information that are on these. If we take a quick look at this, at what information is typically on a schedule like, or a schedule like this. The first row is I'll call it a division activity ID. You know, sometimes it is they'll do it by the CSI number. Sometimes it's just, you know, identified by the software. Usually each line will have a unique identifying number, so you can, you know, if you did have to search it or something, it just helps you, you know, track it and organize it. Then you'll have an activity name, you know, kind of a short description of it, so you know it, you know, so as you go through it, you understand what you're looking at. Site preparation, field wiring, just a short description of each task you're doing. Breaking down, if you're doing the electrical, if you're doing the plumbing on a job, it's one thing to say, yeah, we'll be on site for 6 weeks. That doesn't give you much opportunity to control and adjust when you just give a big, an overall name to the work. The idea is to break it down task by task and identify how much each of those tasks requires in terms of, man hours, labor, that kind of thing. The next column over, you're usually going to have duration, how long, like man days. There could be different units. It's usually in man days or man hours. Is it 5 days? Is it 20 hours? Whatever it is that you usually label it what your units are, whether it's days or hours. Let's see, a little feeling old. I can't make out that. Yeah. So your original duration, your remaining duration, you might have started a task and you got, you're 2 weeks in and you have, 4 days left, whatever it is, activity complete, or a count of that, the percent of that activity, how far you've progressed through it, how much is left. And then just, simple stuff, your start date, your end date. Usually on schedules, you're talking about work days, so you're not including, weekends unless, it's overtime work, stuff like that. And it's a simple enough concept. It's just a visual representation of, the different tasks you have to perform. But it does help, everybody understand, the kind of the sequence. This needs to be done before that. And that's, the goal of any good schedule is gonna, give the most amount of information in the clearest way possible. That's kind of the goal on, lots of different types of documents. Say it in as few words as you can. The longer you make it, the less people are listening. Same thing with the schedule. The more information, there's too much information, people tune out. They're not even looking at it anymore. They're not really paying attention. So you try to be as clear and concise as possible. And that's about it. You can see, there's, as far as what the axes are, you got, your activity on the rows, and you have your time frames in the columns. And you're just, this schedule is usually a living document. It's something that you're updating ideally. If you're using it as a control, you're updating it, daily, weekly, some point to track. It's one thing to plan a job. It's another thing to track it. Did it take us longer than we thought? If I'm a business owner, if I'm a contractor, that's something I want to know. If I thought it was going to take us 4 weeks and it took us 6, I sure as heck want, because that, again, is money. So, keeping it as accurate as possible is, even if you might feel like, oh, this is going to point out that we're slower than we thought we could have been. It's not about, and it's not as much as it's not a performance measure. It is, it is a historical document. It's, a tracking mechanism. Lots of reasons could slow you up. You can't try to minimize or hide anything, because the historical record of a construction company is honestly, one of the most important parts of it. Somebody who doesn't track their own work progress and effectiveness, their labor rates, their output, it's real hard to price jobs, and all that information is kind of lost if you're hiding it because you don't want anyone to blame you for being late in this project. That's not the point of a schedule. A schedule is a living document. It is to plan, but it's also it's control. It's a control point, and it's very valuable in terms of That's one of the biggest assets of a company is knowing how fast, they can do work, how much, they'll go through what those kind of, inputs are. That's an invaluable resource that, you might be able to get a book that says it, but books aren't real accurate when it comes down to individual people and projects. So I think that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys all sticking through that. Like I said, I'm going to be posting a couple things. I started posting today just the information we have. I'm going to post the homework. The homework is on the syllabus. Quickly, it is. I think it's the first couple of questions of chapter 1. And just chapter 1's kind of introductory. It has some good points. Read through it. As you go through it, if you see anything that is unfamiliar and might be confusing you, send me an email at the time. Write it down. Talk to you in class, whatever. But try to address it as you're reading it, because you'll lose it. You forget about it if you wait too long. So that was one other point I wanted to make. If you do need something from me, the quickest response will come from a text. Like if you really, hey, I'm out now and I need some, I need an email or something like that. You can send me an email. I definitely will check emails. In terms of speed, I'll see the text right away. So if you do need anything from me, text might be the fastest response method. And I think my cell phone number is on the syllabus. Yeah. All right. That's pretty much it for today. I appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to working with all you guys. And ladies, it's been, I appreciate you guys taking the time and giving me the attention, and I hope we can make this as useful for you as you move forward in this industry as we can. That's our goal, and if there's a way we can help you, let me know, and I'll do whatever we can to help you. Any other questions? Anybody have any general questions? Anything you need before we sign off?
I've got
There you are.
I've got a personal question. If you could stick around for a little bit after class.
Yeah, sure. Someone else have a question?
Yeah. When we turn in the homework, is it gonna how do we do that again, or is it? I think I missed.
It's gonna be through Blackboard. So when I send you, I'll send you the link, and you will input your answers on there. A lot of these questions, like I said, are kind of like a short sentence or something like that.
For sure.
So I'll send you the link, and you'll just input it directly into Blackboard and be done with it.
Awesome.
Somebody else have anything? Question I heard?
No, you just answered it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, everybody. I thank you for your attention, and I will talk to you on Monday. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Susan, congratulations.
Yeah.
You got your lead? That's awesome.
I only did the GA one.
Yeah, like associate or whatever.
Yeah.
So tell me, did you have to document learning or whatever, or taking a class on that, or is it just a test?
No, you just did the test. No, I bought there's a book. I don't know, it costs a fortune, of course, but it's ridiculous. 200-page book costs $100, but I just studied that book and then, studied. So, but I'm gonna take is the AP much harder?
I took I had my lead so long ago. It was like so different. It was a long test, But actually, there was no associate back when I had it, so I couldn't even compare them.
Oh, okay. Well, I would have done both, except I'm going to try to get somebody else to pay for the AP one because it's like
Sure.
$500 or something.
Yeah, and just having, anything, whether it says, lead AP or lead, there's all kinds of different certifications. Just the fact you got any of them, it's going to make a big difference.
Okay. Well, I know Emmett wanted to talk to you. Emmett is my best friend at Triton because he helps me with stuff.
We had a
Nice.
few classes together, yeah.
Yeah, I got some questions for you, Emmett, like about that big ass microphone and all. It looked like you're broadcasting there or something.
I do a lot of weird work. Like I
Okay. Bye now.
bye. See you in class later.
See you soon then.
I do vocal work to an extent. Like I make vocal forms into like different structures. It's kind of hard to
Okay.
explain, but it's just another hobby I have.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, well, that's awesome. That's
So the thing I wanted to bring up with you is
Yeah.
I'm either going to be late or absent from class next week, the 27th. I'm having
Okay.
an MRI taken. I don't know how long that's going to take or how I'm going to feel afterwards. So
Definitely.
I can email this to you as well if that would work better.
What you can do? What?
I can email this to you as well. I just figured it'd be better to give you a heads up as soon as possible.
So what I will say is, I'm a lot more. I have to report the absences every week, and these we do. 1 second.